What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, you're watching 4K Motoring, and today we're riding the new 2021 KTM 390 Adventure. So this bike is on loan to me for the day by Garcia Moto here in Raleigh. They're nice enough to let me ride it for the day and shoot this video to bring to you guys, so I'm very appreciative of those guys. Awesome staff over there, great selection of bikes. Highly recommend if you're in the market for BMW, KTM, Ducati, or Indian bikes. Okay, so first I want to give you guys some of the specs on this bike, just to let you know on paper how it is, and I'll kind of give you my impression of the bike so far. So on paper, here's the spec sheet for it. It is MSRP just over $6,000, about $63.99 is what KTM lists. It has a 393cc 4-valve single-cylinder engine, so big old thumper in this bike. It produces 43 horsepower, 26 foot-pounds of torque, so not too bad for the size of the bike it is, especially for something that's emissions controlled and, you know, street legal here. And the wet weight on the bike is listed as 379 pounds. That comes in contrast to the BMW GS310, for example, which weighs about 6 pounds more and is pretty down on power, only has 20 foot-pounds of torque and is in the low 30s horsepower-wise. So you are getting, for only MSRP of about $400 more, you're getting a whole lot more with the KTM. So you can see this small adventure, entry-level adventure bike class is not meant to be a dual sport bike or a true dirt bike. They're definitely heavier than that. That lends themselves to a little bit more stable highway riding and kind of commuting, which is what most people, I believe, will be doing with these bikes. So let's talk a little bit more about what this bike is. So the bike is running a 19-inch front wheel. It's a 190/19 Continental TK70 is what they have on the front of it. It actually did pretty well on the highway, wasn't unstable really by any means, and was fairly comfortable. And off-road, it definitely has enough void space to be kind of grabby and to handle most, you know, fire roads and dirt trails, that sort of thing, pretty well. Jumping around to the other side here of this front wheel, we have our single front rotor brake with our Bibri caliper. We do have an ABS ring up front. This bike is equipped with ABS as standard. Pretty awesome for this price point. This bike is equipped with LED lights front and back. So you guys saw that front. And this back right here is also LED. As we move into our front suspension here, this does have the WP suspension KTM is known for. It is adjustable. Both compression and rebound are adjustable by clickers that are really easily accessible on the top of the handlebars. Great feature for this price point, really makes it user adjustable. Coming into what is the crown jewel of this bike is the 390cc single cylinder engine on board. This motor is very smooth. It doesn't feel like your average dirt bike thumper. It is a very smooth engine. It sounds very smooth. The exhaust note, sounds like a sewing machine. I mean, it is just smooth. It's not that aggressive visceral noise that the, for example, KTM LC8 motor is sometimes known for. But for somebody that might be taking this on a gravel trail, dirt, fire road, into nature, it actually sounds really good, very smooth, and not overly loud. On the back of our bike, we also have a Continental TKC 70 tire with a 130 mil 17-inch tire. Pretty adequate for this bike, especially for the power it's producing. Decent grip. As you can see, we have a solid center lug all the way down the middle. Helps with that longevity and highway riding, and it gets knobby on the outsides to give us that little extra grip. Well, those are its features. Now to answer, how does it ride? So the KTM 390 Adventure actually rides quite well for its size. For the price point you're getting in, you're generally competing against the smaller entry-level bikes of most manufacturers, and most of those have a lot of concessions to make those price points happen. With the KTM, you're getting those inverted adjustable front forks. You're getting a 19-inch front tire with decent brakes. You're getting the engine guards, the hand guards, the TFT display, the LEDs front and rear. Really quite an impressive package. The single cylinder 390cc engine is more than capable of taking you on any highway trip you need to go on. Maybe not optimal for cross-country stuff, but anything you're going to do day to day, your urban commuter, your around town bike, it's not going to let you down. That motor is plenty strong, has plenty of torque for getting off the line, for accelerating into traffic. The RPM holds low enough that you can hit highway speeds with relative comfort. There's very little bar vibration at all, no seat vibration. It's actually pretty comfortable, and that windshield does surprisingly good job at keeping the wind off you, at least off your torso, at highway speeds. It's built to be that entry-level adventure bike. It's built to let you go down those gravel roads, those fire roads, with a bike that's also confident and comfortable on the highway. So you're getting a mix of the two, and that's what these adventure bikes are for. So as far as off-roading goes, this bike is definitely more capable than the 390 Duke is. That said, it's not a dirt bike, right? So we make that distinction, and I think we all should be on the same page there. The adventure bikes are a different class of bikes. They're not meant to do really hardcore off-roading, single track trails, gnarly mud routes, that sort of thing. The weight is kind of prohibitive there. Again, this is a little bit under 400 pounds for this bike. It's not going to be built for that. Alright guys, have about 100 miles on the bike so far. Did a little combination of highway riding, of just urban commuting, a little bit of light off-roading with some gravel trails and some dirt fire roads. And here are my takeaways for this bike. The KTM 390 Adventure is an awesome bike for beginners, is who I believe they have targeted. The price point for this bike, being MSRP under $7,000, is phenomenal. It's definitely in the ballpark for beginner bikes. The equipment that's on this bike, between the traction control, the ABS, that by the way both work really well. They're not very invasive, as in they don't do things that you're not expecting. They're just kind of gentle in their application, and they work great. The tires, the wheels, the whole setup is just an awesome package for the price point. So over my 100-mile trip, I averaged just under 60 miles per gallon, about 58 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. Was doing a lot of heavy acceleration, a lot of highway riding that was, north of 70 miles an hour, so fairly high in the RPM range. This nearly 400cc engine does rev up to about 10,000 RPM. I dare say it is fun once you get it up towards those higher RPMs. The 40-some horsepower doesn't seem like a whole lot, but with this bike, with as little as it weighs and the dynamics, it can be quite fun. At the same token, for those beginner riders, it is by no means intimidating. The power rolls on very smoothly, it is very controllable, and you have to do a lot to get this thing unsettled. With the traction control and ABS that are on this bike as standard, it becomes a very compelling package for a beginner, and one that I would highly recommend. Typically I've recommended things in more that 650 range, but I think these 390s and 400s, that ballpark that's coming around now, is really an optimal beginner bike. You're not gonna run out of bike. It's still very drivable on the highway, but it is very fun around town as well. I do want to say a special thanks to Garcia Moto, Indian, KTM, BMW, Ducati for their assistance in providing this bike today for me to check out and ride. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the content. If you guys are in the Raleigh area, feel free to check them out. They've got a bunch of these things in stock. Like I said, at the price point, they offer some really, really amazing features. As always, thank you for watching 4K Motoring. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. We'll have more of this content hopefully in the future, hopefully some different bikes. If there's anything that you guys want to see in particular, leave that in the comments down below. If you guys have one of these bikes or have tried one of these, let me know your thoughts on them. I've been very impressed with it for the price point, for what it is. It's been pretty awesome. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll be back with you next time.